Now, you may be wondering who I am and who we are. Business Plan Services has been going for 15 years. It's owned by Jane Kadair, and it works in association with London Business School. And we do nothing but help people with their business plans. That's all we do as a business, and we may talk a little more about how we might be able to help you. And we have 80 consultants who can help you to formulate a business plan. I myself ran my own business for 12 years, sold it to an Irish conglomerate, went to London Business School, which is rather the wrong way round of doing these things, some might say. And then I raised a great deal of money for a technology business just at the height of the technology boom, learned a great deal from that. And for the last 15 years, I have been investing, rather more successfully than most, in other people's businesses as a business angel. So this talk is by no means an academic talk. This is a practical workshop about experiences that I have that I will bring to you of other people's businesses who have made a success or not a success of their businesses. And what I want you to be able to do is to try and form some sort of analogy with your own business as to how you can create a business plan that will take your business forward as fast as you can. Now, the format of the day is that up until about 11 o'clock, I'm going to talk about the 7 tests that we have of an entrepreneurial opportunity. And it doesn't mean that if you don't pass all these tests that you give up and go and do something else. These are just highlighting what the gaps are in your strengths, what the weaknesses are in your business, and where you need to do some work in order to bring people in or work out how you're going to create the business, because I think if you do this before you write a business plan, it is extremely helpful. After that, I'm going to invite people up, and I'll tell you now so that you can start preparing for it now, to tell me in no more than 30 seconds what the value proposition of their business is to a customer. Because I am a strong believer that if you don't understand what value you are offering to a customer, then you won't be able to create a business plan, and you won't be able to create a business, you won't be able to build your business. And it's absolutely critical that you should be able to understand what that value is. And that means who is going to buy from you, why they're going to buy from you, what you're offering them, why they're going to go on buying from you over time, and why they're not going to buy from somebody else. So answering all those questions in no more than 30 seconds is extremely difficult. But that doesn't mean that it's not a very good exercise to carry out. And I do recommend that as many of you do it as possible. And when we get the feedback forms at the end, we always have to encourage people to come up. And then at the end, we always get feedback forms saying, oh, I wish I'd done it. So I do encourage you, actually, to have a crack at it, because the idea is not to make fun of anybody. That's not the object. The object is to learn, because the way people do it usually has common features with what other people in the room are doing. That will go on probably for about half an hour, and then we'll have a break. And after the break, at about 11:45, we will go through until 1:30, going through the sections of a business plan which we feel are critical, and how you might go about doing them as well as possible, and what mistakes we come across from people who are doing them. So the theme for this morning is innovation, because in my experience, anything I've read, there are only 2 ways that businesses have succeeded in the long term in the history of the world. Can anybody suggest what those 2 ways might be? I'm sorry? Evolving. Well, businesses do evolve. In fact, that's sort of gets to the answer. But actually, one answer is up on the board, so I'm trying to help you here. Innovation is one of the ways. The other way tends to be monopoly. Anybody here running a monopoly? No? We will see later in the program that actually, even if you're running a monopoly, you can manage to lose money, which is a fantastic achievement. But for those of you who are not running a monopoly, then it's about innovation. And I'll explain a little bit about why that matters. And I can now quote from our distinguished Chancellor of the Exchequer, who spoke no more than a couple of months ago. Asia is already outproducing Europe. China alone is manufacturing half the world's computers, half the world's clothes, and more than half the world's digital electronics. And this Christmas, more than 75% of children's toys. But in the next 10 years, the competitive challenge is even more profound. Once responsible for just 1/8 of the world's growth, China and India will soon capture almost half. And increasingly, they are competing not just on low cost, but on high skills. While every year Britain adds 75,000 engineers and computer scientists, India and China add 500,000. And while annually Britain turns out 250,000 graduates, India and China now graduate 4 million. So economies like ours have no choice but to out-innovate and outperform competitors by the excellence of our science and education, the quality of infrastructure and environment, and by our flexibility and our levels of creativity and entrepreneurship. If anybody disagrees with that, I'd be happy to have a debate with them afterwards. I think it's very important, and I'm very glad that you come to workshops like this because I think there's a huge need for entrepreneurship and innovation. Some of you may have listened to the great Dame Anita Roddick of Body Shop fame, who gives a talk here, and she wrote a very good article in the Financial Times a couple of months ago entitled "Why I'm Glad I Never Went to Business School." And I have that article here if anybody wants to read it, and I wrote a reply to it because it seems to me that raw entrepreneurship is something of a dangerous thing, and actually some discipline is very valuable. And what I'm going to try and give you this morning is a little bit of discipline to temper your raw entrepreneurship and your passion, which I'm sure you have for your businesses. So I hope that that is going to be useful to you.